Guys, I started wrestling at age 14 and BJJ at age 17. Right now, I'm 21, I weigh 170 pounds, and yet I take down heavyweights with 4 years of wrestling experience. I take down brown belts. I've even submitted a former D1 wrestler, guys. Okay? So I promise you that if you watch this video, I'm going to show you guys the takedowns that actually work in grappling, so you don't have to spend years and thousands of hours trying these takedowns and watching different videos and not getting takedowns, okay? I don't want you guys to get smashed. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to grade the takedowns. I'm going to give you the risk to reward of each takedown and the options you have from their failed attempts, okay? And I'm going to do that because I'm a wrestler by trade, and then I transitioned to jiu-jitsu. So I know this stuff. All right? All right. And hopefully I can prove to you that you need to switch from leg attacks to upper body attacks. You need to switch from one attack to a series of attacks or a chain. So this is a chain wrestling, right? You need to switch from throws to trips and sweeps, okay? Because trips and sweeps are low risk. Let's start with the hip toss. If you're a beginner in jiu-jitsu, okay, and you are taught the hip toss because it's flashy, right? You go to a Gracie Barra gym and they show this. Guys, throw this away. You don't need this takedown. The reason why is because you're giving up your back temporarily, right? The way it works is you load the opponent up on your back and you bring them over from feet to back. It's only going to work if they have so much momentum pushing into you that they just automatically flip themselves over. But guys, I see this get countered. I personally counter this very easily just by taking the back. Whenever someone goes for this, I just take their back. Okay? So I highly recommend you stay away from the hip toss. For that reason, this is a D tier takedown. Next up, we have the fireman's carry. This is another D tier takedown, guys. Let's skip ahead a little bit. I want to show kind of what makes this a D tier. Right here. If you're this guy, the purple belt, the white belt is simply going to lock his feet around your arm and lock his arms around your other arm, and now they have a crucifix. Okay? So don't go for this takedown unless you want to get crucifixed. In an MMA, that could be a knockout by elbows. In jiu-jitsu, you might get choked out or armbarred or everything, guys. Do not get crucifixed. It's a very bad position to be in. Okay? Next up, we have the double leg. I love Khamzat Chimaev double leg. He has the most beautiful double leg in MMA, guys. He hits it on everybody. He's so athletic and fast, and I think that's why, for the most part, he succeeds. But to hit on the chain wrestling concept from earlier, Khamzat shoots in on the legs here. His arms are perfectly wrapped around the legs, and it looks like he might just finish the traditional double leg here, right? But Lee pulls Khamzat up with this overhook, okay? So Khamzat, with his chain wrestling, goes to a body lock and takes the back, picks him up, brings him to his corner, and starts talking to Dana White, the boss of the UFC. Okay? So double legs are risky, though. You have to be aware is that you might get guillotined. This is for wrestlers that transition to BJJ. They shoot a head outside double leg as they have 1,000 times in wrestling, and they get guillotined. Don't do that. Okay, go head inside double leg, and then all of a sudden you have an A tier takedown, guys. Okay, just don't get guillotined. Next up, we have. Oh wait, I actually do want to show this too. Is if you're not doing this correctly, this is something that might happen as well. Real quick, maybe you've seen this clip, maybe you haven't, but Johnny Walker. He pulls the opponent into half guard, he messes up the double leg and ends up on the bottom. So that's another thing that can happen if you shoot a bad double leg. It is more risky. Okay, leg attacks are inherently more risky than tying up and going for the throw. Or the trip. Or an arm attack. Upper body tie-ups are inherently safer. But let's move on. So we covered the double leg, the fireman's, the hip toss. Let's look at the single leg. This attack, guys, I'm telling you from experience, okay? I trained with this really big heavyweight that has 4 years of wrestling experience. And really more, because it was 4 years in high school, and then they started grappling. So I trained with him. And this is like the only thing I can get on him, is a low single, guys. The reason why the low single beats heavier opponents is you only need to control one limb, and you can shoot it. The lower you shoot, the more control you have, because you're at the end of the lever. You're at the end of a lever, right? The way that works for me is I shoot a super low single, and I have to reshoot into a double to collect both ankles. This works against stronger opponents, I promise. If you're shooting at the hip and they decide to stay upright instead of pulling guard, you're going to have to muscle them, and it's going to be a battle of strength to drag them down to the mat. Unless, you can just pick up their leg, but I'm talking about opponents much stronger than you. So for that reason, I'm giving the single leg an A tier rating. But I do want to show you a guillotine counter that works against the single leg as well. So you do have to be aware that people will try to guillotine you as well. Simple. They're just going to jump on the neck. Nothing crazy, guys. This is a simple counter. Just be aware of that, and you'll be good to go. Alright. Ankle pick. Ankle pick is absolutely perfect for risk mitigation if you're definitely going to shoot for the legs no matter what. The thing about the ankle pick, right? Again, it works against stronger opponents, but it's all about timing. Look at this. You keep a collar tie, and then you shoot for the ankle. The reason why this works is you have many options from a failed attempt. You still have your collar tie, and you can simply pull back and reshoot for the ankle again. Okay? So, you're not risking anything by going for an ankle pick, because it's your body's still far away. You're not putting yourself in a predicament like with the hip toss, where you're like giving up a tie up or giving up your back. You're still in a safe position when you go for the ankle pick. You can even reset and shoot for it again. For that reason, guys, the ankle pick is going to be an S tier takedown. Alright, next up, let's talk about the slide by. Guys, if you don't know who Jax Forrest is, he made the senior level freestyle wrestling team as an 18-year-old in high school. So he did it with the slide by. That was his bread and butter. He uses the slide by, and he does it to world-class opponents, like actual like best in the world in the weight class. He slides them by. Like, it's crazy, guys. If you haven't seen a Jax Forrest match, go watch it now. But I'm going to show you some highlights so that you can see what it looks like when it works. It's very low risk. The elbow control slide by is super low risk. You just use a collar tie. There it is right there. Let's watch this. Collar tie and elbow control, and you just slide by. look away, pull the collar tie, push the elbow. It works very well. This is a low risk attack that doesn't even require you to change your level. You don't even have to go for a leg. You know, it's low risk. You don't even have to go giving up any kind of tie up. You can shoot. You can throw 100 slide bys in a match, and not give up a single takedown. The other version of the slide by is the over tie slide by. So Jax does the elbow control one. We see Tazudinov, he does the over tie version. So instead of controlling the elbow, look at this. He controls head and wrist. And it is absolutely beautiful, guys. If you're not tracking, Tazudinov beat Kyle Snyder and Sadulayev in the same day, guys, at a tournament. He is the guy with the best over tie slide by in the world. So if you're interested in learning this system, highly recommend you watch his matches. He is very good at the over tie slide by. Low risk attack. I'm giving this one an S tier rating. All right. Yeah, just disengage. If you fail, just literally just disengage, reattempt. Next up, we have the arm drag, guys. In jiu-jitsu, the arm drag is low risk. I will say though, it takes a lot more timing and technique than the slide by. For that reason, I'm giving this one only an A tier, not an S tier. But it's very low risk, and if it does fail, you can just disengage. It's only not an S tier because it takes so much more skill and timing. Let's see it one more time by Gordon Ryan here. He's walking towards his opponent, extremely upright. That's how it is in jiu-jitsu, okay? That's why takedowns are. And he counters his opponent's forward momentum with an arm drag, guys. Clubs the head, single leg finish. Simple. For that reason, it's an A tier. Front headlock to go behind. This, guys, is an S tier technique. Front headlock means your weight is on your opponent. At this point, you know, you're facing them. You don't necessarily have you don't have the back yet. You don't have mount or side control or anything. But what you do have is control of your opponent still. Because your weight is on them, you're forcing their hands to the mat, you're forcing them to either pull guard or turtle. And specifically the go behind is low risk. See, with the elevator position, like we see this guy doing here, he has to fall to his back temporarily, which is a big risk in MMA and wrestling. Although it works here, a lot of times the elevator leads straight to yourself getting pinned. But the go behind specifically is low risk. For that reason, I'm giving the front headlock go behind a S tier rating. Moderate risk, them pulling guard, turtle position defense. But you have all of these options from a failed attempt. You can go for these chokes. Alright. Underhook throw by. Let's look at the underhook throw by. This guy, Giorgio Polas, or however you say his name, he underhooks everybody in his videos. And he literally spams this move. I think the reason why this works so well is strength, guys. Underhooks require you to jack up your opponent's overhook to the point where their elbows are like to the sky. If you aren't as strong as your opponent, they'll simply jam that overhook down and will control the Thai that way. So if you're very strong, I will say the underhook throw by is an S tier move. If you're not strong, I'll give this a B tier rating, guys. Trent Hidley, also a beast, won worlds with this move. Yeah, so you have the far knee pick option. You have the lat pull option. So let's look at the lat pull if you're not tracking. Lat pull. Yeah, so it's a change of momentum. The knee pick, you're just running them over the way we saw Georgia do. And the lat pull, you're changing your momentum, okay? And then you have the double leg option. So right there, you have 3 options off of the underhook throw by. This is like I said, a B tier move because I think it does rely more on strength. But absolutely beautiful move. Moderate risk if opponent has good overhook game or good strength and required. Okay, yeah, so required. Options from failed attempt, underhook system, snap down, switch to single leg, go for double underhooks. Yeah, you can add those on top of your other options like the lat pull. All right, the Uchimata, guys, beautiful technique. The Uchimata is such a beautiful throw. It's high risk though. You need your opponent to be pushing into you if you're gonna go for this move. If you're just simply throwing up whizzer kicks without any kind of momentum, look, Bavusar Satiev gives up the underhook to go for his whizzer kick, right? If the opponent drops to the leg, or if this wasn't the greatest wrestler of all time, his opponent would have dropped to a leg and captured a single leg of his own because you're feeding your own leg to your opponent. It's high risk. But with the right momentum, you can definitely throw people from feet to back with this move. And it's an absolutely lovely move. It just looks pretty. If you don't know about Bavusar Satiev, him and his brother are considered the absolute GOATs of freestyle wrestling. They won so many medals, and they're highly revered. Like 5 or 6 medals, like some crazy number. Yeah, it's a great cake. All right. Anyway, for the rating, it's a C tier. I see guys go for this technique and get countered all the time. That's why I'm thinking it's a C tier. However, you do have options. If you go for the whizzer kick and they're still standing upright on one leg, I highly recommend you go for the ankle. If you go for the ankle here, you might be able to just bring them over. So you do have some options. Disengage is hard because you're giving them an underhook. All right. I promised you that you need to switch from throws to foot sweeps, and this is it. This is the proof right here. Islam Makhachev gets a beautiful foot sweep. I misclicked. Hold on, let me go. Islam Makhachev gets a beautiful foot sweep against Arman Sarukian. Look at this. No effort, no strength whatsoever. Beautiful timing. And lands in mount, guys. In MMA, you can wait for your opponent to throw the knee and then go for the sweep. But in jiu-jitsu, you're going to have to force this because they won't be throwing strikes, right? You're going to have to pull them in so they step into your sweep. If you notice here, there's absolutely no effort exerted by Islam. There's no shooting for the legs. There's no giving up a bad position. Nothing. It's just pure timing and technique. All of a sudden, he ends up in mount. Absolutely beautiful technique. Compare this to the Uchimata, where so much effort is needed and your opponent's momentum is needed. This is an S tier move, guys. If you replace throws with sweeps and you replace leg attacks with upper body attacks like a slide by or the arm drag, and if you replace a single attack with a series of attacks like we saw with the double leg where you can transition to body lock, then I guarantee your game will become so much better and you're going to experience so much more success. All right, like and subscribe if you found this useful. I'll see you guys in the next one.